It is probably the clearest read yet from the Federal Reserve about the near-term outlook for rates. In the minutes from the central bank's last meeting, most policymakers agree that raising rates in June would be too soon. Hampton Pearson has the details.
In remarkably plain English, minutes from the April Fed meeting say most monetary policymakers agreed June would be too early to start raising key short-term interest rates, which have been kept at historic lows since 2008. The economy's winter weakness was viewed as transitory, and data on first-quarter GDP is not yet final. Policymakers are also concerned about the lingering impact of the strong dollar on U.S. exports and the decline in business investments due to declining oil prices. More ammunition for economists and analysts who see the Fed staying on the sidelines until later in the year.
If anything, I think this is going to redirect the focus back to the weakness of the fundamentals in the U.S., which has been ignored as of late. And I think this weakness further justifies the Fed to remain on hold at the latter part of 2015, but as we have long contended, holding the Fed on the sidelines until 2016.
The minutes also say Janet Yellen and her fellow monetary policymakers did discuss possibly sending a kind of early warning between meetings that a rate hike may be imminent. But that idea was opposed, and the timing of the first rate hike will be assessed on a meeting-by-meeting basis. Leading analysts say the markets are prepared.
The markets, at least from an equity standpoint, have been discounting a much slower but more consistent move up in rates over the next 6 months. Now, whether the bond market preempts that because of a sustained move in oil prices or whether we see it in inflation, it's clear to us that there's some expectation for it.
By the time the Fed meets again in mid-June, it'll have 2 more jobs reports plus revised data on economic growth before deciding what's next for interest rates. For Nightly Business Report, I'm Hampton Pearson in Washington.